Welcome back. So, we did a top songs of 2023 of February, and now we're going to move on to albums. Much more to discuss when it comes to the albums, and this month picked up a lot more pace than January did. And judging by what we just got in the first week of March, we're really picking up steam. So, let's just start off with the first record that I'm going to be talking about today. And it's probably one that you've probably either have heard of starting to bubble up in kind of the indie scene, or you may have never heard before. So it's Model Actriz. I believe it's a single person, and the record is called Dogsbody. So to give a couple of influences, I feel like this record kind of encapsulates or kind of embodies. It sounds a lot like Nine Inch Nails. It sounds a lot more industrial, almost has a dancey kind of dance industrial, dance punk kind of sound to it. And I was thinking about this as I was listening to the record of why does this record sound like this? Or if I was to put it into a sentence, what does this record sound like? It sounds like a dingy, gray, disgustingly sweaty nightclub in like an A24 film. And I think there's a movie that's just like basically just a party, a nonstop party. And I feel like this album would soundtrack something just disgusting, dirty, like this NSFW kind of feel to it. It just sounds gross, but in another way and the other way around, this record has some really catchy moments, some really catchy hooks. The production is just, it's tense. It's on the edge of your seat. It feels like something is creeping up behind you. But in another vein, it sounds like it's very catchy, it's very danceable. It's a really interesting record, and I listened to it a couple nights ago, and I don't know how a record that sounds like this can be so infectious and catchy. That's all I can say. If you're looking for a track, I would probably recommend Mosquito. The chorus on that is incredibly catchy, and the production all the way through is going to keep you on the edge of your seat, and it's going to keep you just sat down and just focusing on every single part of it, because the soundscape and the sound design on this record is also incredibly fantastic. So highly recommend Dogsbody from Model Actrice. Now, this record, I have grown so much to love. And it is shame with Food for Worms. I don't know how I found this record. I think it was on Bandcamp, like I find a lot of these things. And this record has like a mid-2000s alt-rock kind of sound to it. And it sounds even more vintage when I listen to it more. I feel like there's takes from classic rock, some takes from punk and garage rock. There's so many things in this melting pot of an album, and it works so well. And the singing is very much just very emotional, very just impacting. And the moments that this album has when it comes to instrumental pieces, when it comes to the clash of instruments, there are moments on this record where my mouth is open in just how amazing and how intricate and how just a chaotic, beautiful mess that this record can be. I haven't really dug into lyrics all that much, but the sound of this record alone is just incredible. It's indescribable how much I love this record. Give you a spoiler alert, this is my record of the year right now. And if you want to give a little bit of a taster of this record, listen to Adderall, my favorite song of the year, without a doubt, no question. So let's move on to something a little bit more in the hip-hop lane. And I was talking about it in the last video. And again, it is a record that I did not expect myself to like as much as I did. And that's Glockoma 2 from Key Glock. And as I said, this record doesn't really have a lot of crazy bells and whistles. It doesn't have anything that's crazy innovative or anything that's going to change the landscape of trap music or anything of the sort. But what Key Glock brings is personality, and he brings consistency. For this album, besides the title track, I'm still not a big fan of the title track. This record is consistent, it's fun, it's engaging, and it breezes by very quickly. I believe it's only about 38 to 40 minutes long, and you'll sit there thinking it's about 10 or 15 minutes. Key Glock like brings, again, a great amount of personality, a great amount of quotables that are funny, and just overall, this record is just a nice, if you're looking for something to distress, if you're looking for something to kind of just throw on in a background, or maybe just to maybe escape for a little bit, I would highly recommend Glockoma 2. It is a very fun trap project, and that's all I'll say about that with this guy. And I believe I have this last one here. And this is going to be a very long. I'll just put it as Desire, but the whole title of this record is Desire, I Want to Turn Into You from Caroline Polachek. Now, this is the first time I listened to Caroline Polachek. Haven't listened to Pang. But the sounds of this record is also amazing, and it's varied. Like I mentioned with Sunset, you get the flamenco sound. You get like that 2000s kind of just like bubblegum kind of pop that sounds so catchy. And the melodies that Caroline hits on this record are so catchy. They are so potent, and they really stick in your head. I know Pretty Impossible is one of my favorites off the record. There's the track with Dido and Grimes that has this kind of breakbeat sound to it, and it works flawlessly. And there's so many moments on this record that you can just replay over and over and over again, and they're never going to get stale. They're never going to get stagnant. There's always a moment that just shimmers through on this record that you'll always gravitate towards, and you'll always want to continue repeating these tracks to gain back that sense of just bliss, this sense of just really great and curated pop music. And Caroline Polachek, hopefully she gets more attention, because goodness, this record is fantastic. This was originally my #1 album of the year, but of course we moved it up to Shame for Food for Worms, which I'm also seeing on May 19th. I am so excited to go see this live. So these are my top albums of February 2023. So keep it short and brief. Once we get to March, it is going to be a fun discussion, because you have Slow Tie, you have Kaliuchis, and also my boy Ivan Av is dropping something. So I'm looking forward to that. But catch you all on the flip side of the next video, and peace out.